This Iman bil Qadar or Iman bil Qadr, this is an integral part of Iman or the article of faith. What is it? Actually, what we call Iman bil Qadr is the logical result of Iman in two basic and fundamental attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one, Qudrah. Huwa ala kulli shayin qadir. He is omnipotent. He can do everything. And you know there are extensions of this very attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is Al-Aziz. He has all authority. Total authority is in his hands. He is Al-Jabbar, Al-Qahhar. He is controlling everything. Total universe is under his control. And that is what we saw in ayah number 11 of this surah al-Mubarakah. Ma asaba min musibatin illa bi-iznillah. Nothing can happen in this universe without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, we are in the habit of thinking that this world is going by itself. Even if we believe in Allah, we think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the world. And then he framed a set of laws of physical and chemical change. These physical laws, he framed them. But now, you know, this universe is going on, it's working automatically according to those laws. As if, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has nothing to do from moment to moment. But the Iman tells us, no, although the laws were framed by him, but at every moment, anything which happens is with his express permission. Without his permission, not even a leaf of a tree can move. This is that we must believe and we must understand. That is why we can't do anything unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decrees it to be done. He permits it to be done. We can't do anything. So this is the attribute of Allah, who ala kulli shayin qadir, omnipotent. And the second attribute we find in this surah, At-Taghabun. It has been expressed many times, repeatedly. Wallahu bima ta'amaluna basir. Wallahu bima ta'amaluna khabir. And this surah will end again, Alimul ghaybi wa shahada. And then, you know, we have ayah number 4. Ya'lamu ma fi samawati wal ard wa ya'lamu ma tusirruna wa ma tu'linun wallahu alimun bi dhati sudur. This is the second most important and fundamental attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his knowledge. He knows everything. Huwa bi kulli shayin alim. Ma asaba min musibatin fil ardi wa la fi anfusikum. Ma asaba min musibatin illa bi iznillah. Wa man yu'min billahi yahdi qalbah. Wallahu bi kulli shayin alim. In this one surah, having only 18 ayat, at least 5 times, you know, emphasis on the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he knows everything. This has been repeatedly given. Why? Now what does it mean? He knows what happened in the past. He knows what is happening today. And he already knows what is going to happen in the future. Rather, we should say, regarding this attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no distinction between past, present and future. It's pure duration with him. He knew everything from the very beginning. He always knew what was going to happen. His knowledge is all, you know, it concerns everything. So actually this is the second attribute. And now what's the inevitable logical sequence? Result. Pre-knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is going to happen? He knows it beforehand. And this has led people to think, because he knows everything beforehand, it means it is predestined to happen. And this is the Jabr. There has been discussion in the Ilm Kalam of Islam, and you know, this scholastic discussions of the Jews, scholastic discussions of the Christians, scholastic discussions of Muslims, this Masalatul Jabr wal Qadr, whether man has any free choice or not, whether he is predestined. This has been a dialogue, a very lengthy dialogue. But what's the light that we get from the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given man a free choice. There are so many ayat in the Quran. Man has a free choice. Imma shakiram wa imma kafura. He has the authority. If he likes to be shakir, to be grateful to us, okay, he can do it. If he wants to be kafir, ungrateful to us, or doesn't want to believe in us, okay, he has the authority. We have given him this choice. Faman shā falyumin imma shakiran wa imma kafura, it appears in Surah Al-Dahr. And faman shā falyumin wa man shā falyakfur. Whosoever likes, he may believe. Whosoever likes and chooses, he may commit kufr. He is free. And that is why reward. If there was predestination, there shouldn't be any reward then. If you are predestined to be good, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you good, then what for any reward for you? It becomes absolutely superfluous. In this same way, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forced you to be bad, He has forced you to choose evil, then why you should be punished? There's no question of any good reward or punishment if there's no free choice. Free choice has been given to man. But you know, Allah knows what will you do. These two things should be absolutely separately conceived. Pre-knowledge is something else. Predestination is something else. Pre-knowledge doesn't necessarily mean predestination. This is the point we should be brought home. And let me give you a very simple example. A child is playing before you. You throw a toy before him. And you know it, that he will turn towards it. But is he doing because we have forced him to do it? You knew, you could assess, you could guess that when I throw this ball before this child, he will turn to it, he will try to have it. You know it, but you have not forced that child to turn to that toy or ball or something else. He is doing it out of his own free will, free choice. You have not forced him, but only you could guess that he would do it. Our guess can be wrong. Maybe at that time the child has some other, preoccupation in his mind. He doesn't pay any attention towards that ball. Maybe my guess comes to be wrong. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge cannot be wrong. He knows it. But it doesn't mean that He has forced you to do it. You have the free choice. But Allah knows what you will choose. Allah knows it beforehand that you will choose kufr. Allah knows it beforehand that a certain person will choose Iman. But He has not forced him to choose kufr, nor He has forced him to choose Iman. So this is actually only what Iman bil Qadr tells us is, whatever good or bad is coming to me, it could not have come to me without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's all. Wal qadri khairihi wa sharrihi. What does it mean? If something has happened to me or occurred to me which is pleasant to me, it has come to me with the permission of Allah. If something injurious, something unpleasant, something painful, if it has happened to me, it also could not happen without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because final authority is His. He is Al-Jabbar, He is Al-Qahhar, He is Al-Aziz, He is all-powerful, He is omnipotent, He is controlling this universe. Nothing in this universe is out of His control. Whatsoever is happening with His permission.